welcome to my latest YouTube video. Hope you guys are all doing really well. Thanks for all the comments and everything I've received recently. It's been really nice interacting with you all. Just a very quick video today about this, which you can see on this cool arrangement that I'm quite proud of here so that I can actually show you what's on the pedal board. I recently got a second-hand JHS Andy Timmons Mark I Overdrive pedal, and it's the red one here. And I want to talk a little bit about why I went for this pedal and sort of some of the in-depth observations that I have about it. But I'm going to do that later in the video because I know you guys like just really clean and clear, succinct comparisons. So without further ado, today we're going to start off on this Les Paul with 36th anniversary DiMaggio's and an RS Guitar Works vintage wiring kit in it, and it's going through the clean channel of my DSL-20, and that sounds like this neck pickup, no effects. Middle position. And bridge position. Actually, when it sounds that good with this guitar, it makes me wonder why I use pedals at all. But yes, but that is the clean sound. It's probably got a tiny little bit of breakup happening there. Normally when I'm using the Strat, it doesn't break up at all, but this has got a little bit more grunt, so yeah. I do run the gain on the classic channel on full, but I don't think it's not a gainy sound at all. It's just, I think the channel sounds quite weedy without it. So all of the sounds you're going to hear are going to be over this clean sound. We've got 4 controls and a switch, and we've got volume, EQ, drive, and air. Even though there's not that many knobs on this pedal, it does a lot. We'll get into that later. There's also a switch here, which emulates 150 or 25 watt settings. So if you've used something like Silver Jubilee, or even, I suppose, some of the JCM 900s maybe had like pentode triode switching on them to reduce the wattage. If you've used those kinds of amps, this concept will probably be familiar to you. Basically, on this pedal, the 100 watt setting is the loudest setting and has the most headroom and the most dynamic. The 50 watt setting is the next loudest setting and has some more compression and some less dynamic than the 100 watt setting. And the 25 watt setting has the least dynamic and the most compression, and because of that, it feels like it has the most gain. And you have to adjust the volume on the pedal to accommodate that selection that you've made. But for now, we're just going to leave it in the 50 watt setting, which is kind of the halfway house. And I'm going to take you through what these controls do and what the range of sounds in the pedal is. So to start with, we're going to have all the controls set at pretty much 12 o'clock. I apologise if they're not quite 12, but I'm looking at it from an angle, so it's a bit difficult. Okay, remembering what our clean sound was. That's the clean sound. Here we go. Okay, that was the bridge pickup, neck pickup. Already a really great sound coming out of this pedal. The first things that we're going to analyse are the tone and the air controls. I'm going to leave the volume and gain till a little bit later on in the video. Leaving the air control at 12 o'clock, which is halfway, let's explore the range of the tone control. I'm going to do this with the bridge pickup of the guitar because it seems like, I don't know why that seems more logical, but Les Pauls are a bit muddy in the neck anyway, aren't they? So, this is with all of the tone rolled off. Here's the tone a quarter. And here's a tone halfway up. Let's roll that tone up to 3/4. And let's try it on full. Let's explore the air control. So in order to do that, I'm going to put the tone back at 12 o'clock, and now we're going to do the same thing with the air. So this is with the air control completely rolled off. And here's the air control on a quarter. Here's the air control halfway again. Let's bring the air control up to 3/4 of the way in. And on full. Okay, so to move to the next part of this video, I'm going to create a setting for the EQ and the air that I quite like on this pedal for this guitar. And now let's explore what the gain levels are like. So if we roll all the gain off, again we're in a 50 watt setting here and the volume's at halfway, so we're taking all of the gain off the pedal. So I think you can hear that that's not that dissimilar to the clean sound we started off with. Only it's applying some EQ. And it's actually, in the room here, it's a bit quieter than the original clean sound was. But it's interesting because I suppose you could use this pedal as an EQing boost if you wanted to. So just for the sake of argument, let's crank the volume. You know, that's doing something not entirely dissimilar to what this does, which is, if you don't know, this is just a clean boost. So this pedal kind of is fulfilling that boost function as well with a bit of EQ should you want it, and I do like it to do that with it, which I'll show you a bit later on. Going back to the drive control, let's put the drive on a quarter. That's quite nice, mild sort of break up there. Let's go back up to halfway, you're used to hearing this. It's just on the edge of starting to feed back there, and that's something that's, again, I think we'll talk about at length at the end of this video. But how amp-like this pedal really is. That's one of the features that really blows me away. Okay, so let's take it up to 3/4 of the gain, where things start getting fun. And full gain. Okay, so that's really interesting. I'm actually only playing in this room here. This is not loud at all. The amp is on like 1 and a bit. I could talk quite comfortably over this. Well, it's kind of, I could shout over this volume, so it's not loud, but already I'm hearing sort of like proper tube-like saturation. The feedback is there. It feels very natural to me, and I really am a kind of valve guy. You know, I really like real amps breaking up, which is why I've always struggled with pedals, overdrive pedals anyway. So I kind of like to run the gain maybe about 2 o'clock, something like that. I think what we should do now is leave the controls as they are, the volume level as it is, and I'll show you the switching and what the differences are there. We'll start off in the 100 watt setting. It's mad, it's really sustaining well. Okay, so now we'll go back to the 50 watt setting. And now to the 25 watt setting. So I think you can hear there, the difference between the 25 watt setting and the other two settings is really quite dramatic. The difference between the 50 watt setting and the 100 watt setting is less noticeable. I'm not sure if it will even come across through the recording that I'm doing. I certainly won't add any compression or anything, so any volume changes you hear should be accurate. I don't think the intention of this switch is to change volume levels. I think the idea is that you choose the feel that you want, and I think as you go to lower wattage settings, you get more sag, it's more compressed, it's fatter, it sounds like there's more gain. But obviously you then bump the overall volume control up to accommodate that. Let's just take let's look at sort of how loud we'd have to go on the 50 watt setting, or on the 25 watt setting, to sort of compete with the 100 watt setting. So I'm going to go back to 100 watts. Okay, up to 25. So that now feels to me to be a similar loudness to what we had in the 100 watt setting, and I've had to crank the volume up by another quarter to 3/4 to get to that setting, but it's a different sound as well. Fucking great pedal. At the moment I've been running it on the 50 watt setting. I don't really know why. I've only had this pedal like a week and I've done 1 gig with it, so I don't really know it that well. I run the volume on about 2 o'clock because I like that boosted quality. I like it hitting the front of the amp quite hard. I feel like it gives me just a touch more realism in the way that the amp responds to the pedal. And then I also run the gain slightly up as well. But let's just try and get some different kinds of tones using the air control and the tone control. So I suppose here's an example of a softer, more rounded sound with both the air control and the tone control set at about number 4. If this was a scale of 1 to 10, which there are no numbers on this pedal. Yeah, that's quite nice, fat, rounded kind of tone. Let's leave the tone control where it is, and for the sake of argument, boost the air control, and you can hear what will happen. Should be more presence. I think it's probably a good time to discuss what this pedal is and what it does and what's really interesting about it. So I've recently been doing lots of gigs in central London, and often at these gigs it's easier to just use the back line in the clubs and venues that we've been playing in, rather than, you might be playing for sort of a 30 or 40 minute spot, and it's just not worth trying to take, a huge rig with you. It's difficult to park. So for whatever reason, you end up using the house gear. You never know what amp you're going to get. And sometimes it's a Marshall and you're lucky, and for me, that's lucky because that's the sound that I want. And it's a good one, and the preamp valve's good, and then you can plug in and do your thing, and I can just use a bit of boost and that kind of thing. But very often that's not the case. I turn up, and like the other day I did a gig with a solid state 100 watt Fender. I did another gig with an orange amp where the overdrive channel was broken, so I ended up having to use the clean channel. That, coupled with, I use, usually a bit of modulation like chorus and delay, and the added time in going the 4 cable method when you're trying to get on stage really quickly and do a set, worrying about effects loops. Does the amp even have an effects loop? If it doesn't have an effects loop, then I'm going to be putting delay through a gainy sound if I'm going into a gain channel. All of this, when you're trying to go on stage and you're thinking about the lyrics and you want to sing the set and you want to be in the right place and the right frame of mind, I just took the decision that it'd be easier to always use the clean channel. When I'm not using my gear, just use the clean channel and find a solution that works on a pedal board so that my sound is just, I can walk in, put it on the floor, plug into the front of the amp, and it's there. I don't have to worry about effects loops or anything. So in order to do that, because I use quite a lot of gain, I needed to find a pedal that was one of those amp in a box kind of pedals. And my only previous experience of that kind of pedal was using the Bogner Ecstasy Red, which I used for about a year. And that was designed to be, a Bogner Ecstasy in a box. But I had terrible experiences with it, and I'm sure other people probably really like that pedal, really rate it, but I could never get it to work for me. It always felt synthetic. It never felt like an amp. And actually, I'd not played any overdrives or distortions up until this point that convinced me that they were doing the amp thing really well. Until this. It sounds dynamic, it sounds like an amp, it feeds back, all the pinched harmonics are coming out of it. It's just really impressive. It does exactly what I need a pedal to do. Just going into a clean sound like I've been demonstrating today, it feels natural. It feels like a Marshall. In fact, if you blindfolded me and A-B'd like this pedal or the gain channel on that amp, I'm not sure I'd be able to tell the difference. That's how natural it feels. It's extremely quiet. Even with all of its gain engaged and boosted, it runs really, really quietly. It cleans up. When I back off the volume, it cleans up really well. Yeah, I think that's really impressive. I don't think there are many pedals that do that. The tone and air controls, it allows you to adapt that sound, and more importantly, the dynamic and the feel of that sound based on the amp that you're plugging into. When I've played through Fenders, and they've got like that low end, which I don't particularly like, and then to me they have like a too sort of aggressive, tight top end. You can tame that with this pedal. Or if you're playing through something that's like a solid state amp and there's no give in it, there's no sag in that sound, then you can switch to the 25 watt setting and get a much more compressed, saggy kind of feel. There isn't a setting in them that's unusable. Every setting seems to have a purpose and a point, and I can imagine someone using sort of every different kind of setting, whether it is that kind of, I don't know, in my mind, sort of like Larry Carlton-esque. So you've got that sort of warm, fat, I always think, Dumberly kind of character. You've also got other extremes, something really aggressive and more suited to metal. So yeah, here's my settings on the Strat. I've added a bit of delay, I hope you don't mind. It's not changing the sound, just, I needed a bit of something. found this video interesting. I'll probably do some more stuff on it. It was really nice playing the Les Paul again today. I've really got back into that guitar recently. I'll probably do some more stuff on this pedal as I get to know it a little bit better. I haven't even tried it yet, like using it into a sort of slightly crunchy sound, like using it more as a boost with a bit of gain added on top, gain stages and things like that, but maybe I'll give that a whirl. I'm also going to experiment with putting the katana into it and seeing what it sounds like boosted. But I have a small noise problem with this pedal at the moment when it's being powered, and I'm trying to resolve that with Keeley to find out what's going on. But you know, no big deal, it's just, it works off batteries. But it's just a bit noisy when I'm plugging it into the power supply. And sort of in general, the board is kind of like, it's coming together now. Just using this small pedal board is working really well for me. So yeah, I've just got sort of a bit of boost so I can have a nicer clean sound should I want it. And then this Andy Timmons is going to be my main sound from now on. Still running the chorus pedal and the TC Flashback Mini, which is cool. I'm experimenting with tone prints and things. I think at the moment I'm using Analog Meets Thorn, which is Pete Thorne's typical modulating tone print, but I think it's like analog instead of being tape or something. Yeah, and it's pretty good. I'm enjoying that. I hope this was really interesting and useful, and any suggestions you've got for things you'd like to hear, maybe with this pedal or different combinations of things. Any suggestions about any of that are gratefully received. Thanks very much for tuning in again, guys. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, and have a good day. Take it easy.